Sometimes I like to take a break from my regular JRPG gaming habits and venture into the realm of Western RPGs. When I get into a good one, I often find myself absolutely glued to the screen more so than most other genres. And this is exactly what happened when playing Avowed. This game was developed by Obsidian Entertainment, who are huge players in the WRPG and CRPG scene, releasing many powerhouse titles, including Knights of the Old Republic, Fallout New Vegas, and Pillars of Eternity. In fact, Avowed is actually set in the Pillars universe, and those who have played these games will go in with some extra understanding about the lore. For a bit of context, I did complete the first Pillars game but forgot almost everything about it, so this was basically a brand new world for me. To sum up Avowed in a few words, it is the dictionary definition of Western RPG. It gives you absolutely everything you'd expect from the genre without ever going above and beyond in any single area. Avowed plays it safe, and while not blown away, I was absolutely addicted throughout my entire playthrough. Before we get into the review, if you liked this video, it would help me out a lot to hit that like button and sub for more RPG content coming soon. And if you want to further support the channel, you could also hit that super thanks or join as a member. And a big thank you goes to the publishers for the review code, and all footage that you see is from the Steam version of the game. What did you think of Avowed, or are you interested in giving it a try? Let me know in the comments below. Alright, let's get into it. On a technical level, my experience with Avowed was a positive one. I've seen a few people complain about bugs, glitches and crashes, but throughout my entire playthrough, I only got stuck once, and that was because I was overly determined to jump somewhere that I wasn't meant to. The game also ran pretty well on my 4-year-old PC. Visually, there were some gorgeous looking environments, even if the character models looked at least a generation behind. These characters were also butt ugly. In fact, this is probably the most butt ugly character game I've ever played in my life. You see, Avowed is the kind of game where people have mushrooms growing out of their crevices. It's the kind of game where characters look alright from afar, but up close, I guess that's a lot like reality. Just take Melthea here. She nearly looks normal if it wasn't for one of her eyes being a little bit bigger than her other one. And let me introduce you to my very special man, Peshmerga. I tried so hard to make myself look like God's gift to the world, which would be in line with the fact that the main character is literally a godlike. But as you can see, I failed miserably.
You mean a god gave you that face? Touched your soul and everything?
Oi, watch your mouth, you ain't so fine yourself. It's not very often that you play an RPG filled with unattractive characters, but hey, that's Avowed for ya. To be fair, there is one character that's smoking hot and she conveniently runs the local brothel, but that's about it. If you're looking for a digi-wife or husband, you may be disappointed. And on that note, there are no romance options either, and I know that will definitely disappoint some. Avowed's story takes place in the Living Lands, which is a region within the world of Eora from the Pillars of Eternity universe. Now, the Living Lands is plagued by a mysterious fungal infection called the Dream Scourge. Since antifungal cream doesn't work on these guys, you play the role of an envoy from the Empire sent to the Living Lands with the task of investigating this strange phenomenon. And when I say envoy, I mean envoy. Or was it envoy? It's hard to tell since the NPCs can't even decide what to call him. The main character is also a godlike, meaning that they were touched by a deity when they were born, giving them unique powers. The envoy also has a voice in their head who makes zero sense at the best of times. Have you ever met someone who answers all of your questions with cryptic responses? Yeah, that's the voice I'm talking about. At the start of the game, the envoy's ship is attacked, leaving them stranded on the shores of the Living Lands. From there, it doesn't take long to discover that the region isn't only struggling to deal with the Dream Scourge, but also because of the Empire's intentions to expand its influence and power. As you would expect from an Obsidian RPG, there is a focus on decision making, with your choices having an impact on major events. Some of the choices have some grave consequences, and I often had a hard time choosing what to do. The game is also very lore heavy, and if you're familiar with the Pillars universe, you'll understand a lot more than a first time player. Fortunately, there is a lore option during conversations, and I think this is something that every game should have. I really enjoyed the story and the world and always had questions that I wanted an answer to. This is also well supported by some great side quests, which I always wanted to do. Avowed takes the quality over quantity approach in this area, which is just how I like it. As you adventure through these living lands, you'll be accompanied by a range of characters from all walks of life. These characters all have their moments, and there is no shortage of entertaining dialogue between them, which caused me to laugh out loud numerous times. I had fun traveling with them, but I'll probably forget their names in a few weeks. Then I'll forget their faces. Then I'll forget they even existed. They will be dead to me, as is the way of life. One of my favourite things about Avowed is its combat. The mechanics themselves don't reinvent the wheel, but everything just works so well together. The success of this system is largely due to the basic weapon mechanics, which provide a load of options. You can equip your character with 2 different weapon sets, with each set being made up of 1 two-handed weapon or 2 one-handed weapons. These 2 sets can be changed on the fly depending on your situation in battle. Mixing and matching the different weapon types is so much fun, and it's always the first thing I ask other Avowed gamers when talking about the game. For most of my playthrough, one of my weapon sets included a shield and either an axe, sword or spear, and my other weapon set was a spellbook and a wand. I would usually enter battle at range, casting AoE fire spells and long-ranged wand attacks, and then switch over to my axe and shield set for some close-ranged combat. A huge consideration in battle is stamina management, with a major focus being to stun your opponent, leading to loads of damage output. Parrying and countering incoming melee attacks feels great. Building up the enemy's stun gauge feels great. Unleashing devastating AoE magic attacks on all of your enemies feels great. Seeing you hit that like button, it feels great. Your party members act on AI and basically attack whoever they want. They're pretty useless in terms of damage output, but having 2 extra targets running to draw the enemy's attention is incredibly helpful. On that note, positioning is very important. I was looking at the minimap constantly to ensure I wasn't about to be mobbed from every direction. Apart from being meat shields, your companions have 4 unique abilities that can be manually activated in battle, and using these at the right time can make things a lot easier for you during some of the tougher fights. This combat is always fun, and whenever I saw a mob of enemies, I wanted to absolutely decimate every ounce of life within them and then do the same to all of their friends. It's just a shame that there wasn't much diversity in the variety of friends that I could decimate. There's spiders, there's kith, there's beetles, there's skeletons, there's spirits and spores, there's bears and zurps, and all of their minor varieties, but there isn't much more than that. This combat would have been all the more sweeter with some more enemy variety. Also worth noting is that I played the game with the controller, and I felt it was very limiting in terms of its quick access to spells and items. You only have 4 slots for this, which isn't even nearly enough. For everything else, you'll have to stop the game and select your desired ability or item through a menu. The Living Lands is split into 4 major regions, which unlock one by one as the story progresses. Each of these regions is fairly decent in size, but overall, the total explorable area is a lot smaller than many other titles in the genre. But what's important is the quality of what we're given. Exploring these regions is an absolute treat, and is where I found most of my enjoyment with the game. There is so much to find, a lot of which involves vertically leaping from platforms and even swimming through the water's depths. Something that I absolutely loved is the music that starts playing when you find a super secret area. It sounds so epic and makes you feel like you've just won the lottery, like you're the only one in the world who has made that discovery. The icing on the cake is that the rewards that you find always make this exploration worthwhile. This could be something small but useful like crafting materials, to something major like unique pieces of equipment or hidden totems. When you are out exploring, you can switch between first and third person views, but to me, things felt a lot better in first person mode. As you're running around the environments, you'll gradually discover more and more fast travel points. Some of these are simply designed for instant travel, but others act as campsites, which is where you can interact with your party and upgrade your equipment. This is also where your character will heal, meaning that every time you need to restore your HP and essence, you'll need to deal with multiple loading screens, and I found this completely unnecessary. Being instantly healed at any fast travel location just felt like such a logical alternative that should have been implemented. Avowed's RPG mechanics are pretty simple, but they do work well enough. At each level up, your character will receive skill points that can be spent throughout the Fighter, Ranger, and Wizard skill groups. These include both active and passive skills, and once learnt, can be leveled up even further. What I didn't like here is that some fundamental mechanics such as parry are initially locked, and using skill points on something that should have been unlocked from the start felt like a waste. The equipment that you find can also be upgraded at camp. Each piece of equipment comes at a certain tier level, starting at common, then fine, then exceptional, and finally superb. Each of these 4 tiers has 3 upgrade levels requiring the exact same types of items. I really felt that there should have been more variety here, such as requiring certain monster parts, as it's usually just sticks or herbs. Monster parts are, however, required to provide unique weapons with an extra passive skills, but I was never in short supply of these since, as I said before, there is a lack of monster variety. I accumulated about 100 spider legs and only needed a few of these for upgrades. And on the topic of equipment tiers, there is a huge reliance on having equipment at the tier level for each region. For instance, if you go to the second region, the Emerald Stair, with common equipment, you will have a very hard time, and it's basically a requirement to use fine equipment if you want to progress. Avowed is an incredibly solid RPG that ticks just about all the boxes without being truly exceptional in any single area. As a result of this, it is a highly addictive game that was very difficult to put down. It's one of those games where there was always something that I needed to do before going to bed. Avowed's story is full of important choices and deep lore and has some great side quests to support it. Exploring the Living Lands always felt worthwhile, and finding those super secret areas felt so rewarding. Destroying your enemies in combat was the other standout feature, and this was largely due to the mixing and matching of different weapon types with multiple weapon sets. It's just a shame that the game was lacking in terms of its monster variety. And I guess the other factor holding Avowed back from being a truly exceptional RPG and a leader of the genre is its lack of innovation. This may be perfect for some, but there was definitely room for things to be taken to the next level. It's been a while since I've played a solid Western RPG, and Avowed certainly scratched that itch. Obsidian Entertainment, they did it again. What did you think of Avowed? Did you enjoy it as much as I did, or are you interested in giving it a go? Let me know in the comments below. This was Hellfire RPGs, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this review, it would help me out a lot to hit that like button and sub for more RPG content coming soon. See you next time.